Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Obviously, here in Season 2, Rebirth's popularity has been skyrocketing, and after the Season 2 Reloaded update, even more so. Everyone is jumping on Rebirth right now, the new and improved map, new lighting, new locations, obviously the whole Rebirth event. And today, because Rebirth is so popular, we are going over the top 5 best loadouts to be running specifically for Rebirth Island. As we break them all down, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. Really does help grow the channel. And if you're new here, or if you have not already subscribed, around 55% of viewers watching are not subbed yet. And every day I got you covered with everything going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button, turn on those post notifications. That way you'll always know whenever I post a new video. And also, quick reminder, right now, all weekend long, my G Fuel discount code WhosImmortal will actually get you 30% off your entire order, as opposed to that normal 10%. So if you want to take advantage of that increased discount, now is the best time to pick up anything at all from the G Fuel site. So getting into these loadouts, first up, I got the Em2 and I've got the Omen gun. Now the Em2, by all means, is one of the best guns in the game, statistically speaking, but when you go in and use it, it is a little bit tougher because the recoil on this thing is very, very unforgiving. But that's why I love it so much for Rebirth, because a lot of your fights on Rebirth are not 120 meters away like they would be on Caldera. They're, 40, 50, 60, 70 meters away, where that recoil is still noticeable, but it's a lot more controllable and easy to navigate compared to way longer distances. And this thing's power is utterly absurd. Quickly, before we go over all those attachments, as far as the perks and equipment go, this is the same on all my Rebirth loadouts. We're running double time, overkill, amped. Gotta have the throwing knife on there for those easy finishes, get those pings and figure out where the enemy's teammates are. Then also the stims for that little finesse factor and that extra health. I do always try and swap to restock if I can on a second loadout. If not, it is what it is. But as far as the Em2 setup goes here, per usual with the Cold War weapon, this one's pretty straightforward. Agency and task force for the muzzle and barrel, best range velocity control out of that. Definitely running the field agent grip here because that increased control. For the magazine, 40, because that slower fire rate is honestly totally doable, as is 50. I feel like 40 works just fine though, especially for Rebirth with that 250 health still. Then of course, lastly, we're going for that 3 times optic on there as well. And this thing absolutely fries. It's tough to lose a fight if you're landing your shots with this thing. Then for the Omen gun, this is going to be our usual close range, just super aggressive, fast TTK loadout. Recoil booster, rapid barrel for the best TTK there. Of course, we're running the Slate 2.5 times for that better red dot. Remove stock for even better mobility. Hand stop to help out with some of that control. Gorenko 72 round drums to help out with the fire rate, the control, the mobility in general. Honestly, all the ammunition upgrades here are not super ideal anymore because the nerfs to incendiary and hollow point and lengthened over the course of time. I feel like really when it comes down to it for subs, it's between subsonic and lengthened, and I just feel like lengthened, no cons there. It's sort of like the lesser of all evils, as I've said before. Rear grip, going for fabric or polymer. If you want better ADS, go for fabric. If you want better control, go for polymer. Perk 1, going for acrobatic, getting that better movement speed. And then perk 2, quick or fully loaded. Both of those are great choices as always. Phenomenal little combination here. Absolutely loving this one. Loadout 2, we got the AK47 from Cold War. We also have the Well Gun, 2 top TTK weapons as well. Cold War AK, probably the most versatile gun in the entire game. Well Gun, despite receiving some nerfs, is still insanely good. It doesn't even feel like it's been nerfed, honestly, in my opinion. Cold War AK setup here, going to be the same as always and pretty much the exact same as the Em2s as well. 45 or 60 round mag alongside Spetsnaz, RPK barrel, GRU suppressor, and of course the 3 times optic. To no one's surprise, all the Cold War setups are still the exact same as they've been for the last like 7 seasons. For the Well Gun here, we're going for my standard sort of close to medium range setup here. That's very little recoil. Recoil booster first and foremost, going for the shrouded barrel for the better control, the better damage range on there as well. Honestly, you can go for the slate reflector, or you could go for some of the iron sights, whatever you're the most comfortable with there. Also going for remove stock in this case for that better mobility. Same deal with hand stop as before, going for that better control. Magazine, honestly, you could try the 45-48. It's going to be a little bit too slow for Rebirth in my opinion, so I stick with the Gorenko 40. Yeah, they were nerfed. They don't really feel like it though, so I don't see any problem with using those still. Also running lengthened here. Polymer or fabric, yet again, if you want that better ADS, go for that. If you want the better control, go for polymer. Totally comes down to what you value more. Perk 1, again, we're going for acrobatic, and then perk 2 going for quick as well. Pretty standard stuff, but again, this is another loadout that honestly just decimates everyone. Loadout number 3, we got the XM4, we got the brand new Armada 43. This thing is just a super fun SMG to use, has decent mobility, pretty good damage, pretty good control if you master that pattern, so it can't really go wrong with this. XM4 setup, we can just breeze through this because guess what? It's going to be the exact same set of attachments as the last 2 Cold War guns as well. Agency, Task Force, Field Agent, the 45 or the 60, and the 3x optic. This again has not changed in forever, so we don't really have to spend too much time harping on that. As far as the Armada goes, first up, I am still going for the recoil booster. For the barrel, I'm loving the 315. I think the 550 is also a decent choice. I've seen a lot of players running this. I've also seen some players running the 570. To me, there's not really many bad choices here. The body 315 though just feels the most consistent for that aggressive playstyle. For the optic, I prefer the slate. I don't really like the iron sights in this case. Going for folding stock for the better sprint of fire and better movement. Hand stop yet again for the better control. Magazine is kind of a big deal here. They did slightly nerf the Russian 34 short, which were really good for what they were, but 34 rounds is just not super ideal. Like I've said since this gun first dropped, I really prefer the Kurz 72. Gives you great damage per mag, maintains really good TTK as well. Like I just love how those feel. Again, we're gonna go for lengthens here. Polymer for sure, because this does have a little bit more recoil than some of these other sub options. Gonna go for hard scope to actually get some better control as well. Then also quick once more to maintain good mobility and agility while we're sprinting, of course. Very fun SMG setup, not the absolute best of the best. Like obviously the Omen gun's very good, the Well gun's very good, but this is right there with it, making it a very competitive meta for SMGs. Loadout 4, we got the Vargo, another Cold War rifle with a Vanguard secondary in the PPSH, specifically with the PPSH on Rebirth. The hip fire build, man. There's also a ground loot that's based around hip fire that I just love. It's so fun on this map because so many gunfights are close quarters, so you can just finesse with the hip fire. For the Vargo, it's going to be the exact same as the other ones, like always. That's just the nature of Cold War guns, unfortunately, is they are very good, but the setups are very, very boring. So that's just kind of the place that we're in right now. For the PPSH though, because we are focused on hip fire, first up, I want the better fire rate with the recoil booster. You could also run the oil can suppressor if you wanted to, though neither of those are bad options. For the barrel, we're going for the 230mm, better hip fire accuracy, better hip fire recoil recovery, and better fire rate on there as well. We can still run any optic that gives us better accuracy and control because that'll help out with the hip fire, despite obviously we're not ADSing. Just weird how those stats sort of stack there. Going for the remove stock here, better hip fire accuracy yet again. For the underbarrel, we're actually going to go for the steady, just better hip fire accuracy with no cons. You love to see that. For the magazine, you could actually go either for the Nambu or for the Gorenko. Gorenko has a better TTK, but Nambu is a little bit more aggressive, has better control and a better fire rate. I do feel like Nambu are very, very strong. For the ammo here, really none of these are all that great because we are hip firing. Like Subsonic honestly could be a decent choice here. Langdon doesn't really get very much benefit out of a hip fire build though, so like none of these are really great options. We are actually going to go for the Pine Tar grip in this case because it's also better hip fire accuracy. Perk 1, we're going to go for tight grip. It helps out a little bit with recoil even though we're hip firing. And then perk 2, going for quick or fully loaded. Both of those always work here. Fully loaded can be really useful because when you're hip firing you could miss some more shots, so maximizing that ammo is never a bad idea. And then lastly, I have my aggressive Rebirth sniping loadout. I got the Swiss here just because the fast reload, it's so similar to the car in so many ways. So I like the fact that the reload is really the only thing that makes this a little bit better for aggressive sniping. I pair it with the Type 100, which has really, really good range and obviously a very good TTK as well. For the Swiss setup here, we're going for the Gru suppressor first and foremost, alongside the combat recon barrel. Best velocity there, which obviously we want for sniping. Also going for the 5mm laser, better ADS time, making it a little bit more aggressive. I like the base optics, so we don't have to change that. Instead, I go for the Bruiser grip, which gives me a better movement speed, also slightly better stability. Then lastly, I go for the airborne elastic wrap now, or serpent wrap. Both these obviously increase the ADS time. They did rework the flinch though on the Swiss with a lot of these different wraps, so it should be a little bit easier to stay on target while you're getting shot now, so not a bad idea to run that basic sniper setup there. And then for the Type 100, first up, I'm going for the recoil booster. As always, better fire rate, increase that TTK. Honestly, as good as the TTK is with the rapid barrel, the recoil just does not feel ideal. I like the 374mm barrel. It's got better control. It feels like it is an absolute laser beam, and the TTK is still very, very solid. For this, you could go for the iron sights if you wanted to. You could also go for a slate reflector, whatever you prefer the most there. For the stock, going for skeletal, better sprint to fire, better movement as always. Going for hand stop on here is what to help minimize that control. The Kurz 48 round drums, better velocity, better damage. This helps out a ton with the TTK. Also makes it even better for sniper support. Going for lengthened here for sure for some of those medium range fights. It actually does play a much bigger role here than with some of those other subs. Polymer, I think, is definitely the way you want to go. Fabric could be good, but the recoil is something that's very noticeable on this gun in particular. Perk 1, Gung Ho is not really meant for this build. It'd be more so based for close range. So instead, I just go for acrobatic and get that better mobility. And then as always, Perk 2, quicker, fully loaded. No surprises there. In general, though, I love the Rebirth meta right now. All these loadouts are so much fun to use. Each one of them is so dominant and so good. With that being said, those are my top 5 best loadouts to be running on Rebirth right now. And that's going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button, turn on those post notifications. That way you'll always know whenever I post a new video. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.